Hello and welcome to the Indie Band Guru Knowledge to Get Known series. We continue today with another great guest. We have Louie La Vella from Toronto. Louie, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, good to have everybody watching and listening from wherever you are. It's great to be on here and to give some cool information. Hopefully we'll get some golden nuggets out to everybody. And from cold Toronto right now. I'm not sure when you'll be watching or listening to this, if it's repeating for you, but right now, chilly.
Yeah, well, we got a rainy New York, so it's not much better down here. But the biggest thing, I mean, you've been in the industry a while. You know, I've been bouncing back and forth from being in bands to now where we are running the website. Over these years, what has been your take on how the industry has progressed and advanced and maybe even went backwards a little bit? How do you feel about the current state of music?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've been in it since I was a teenager. Started out as a booker for nightclubs. Quickly moved into the head of promotions for several big venues, where I was booking their concerts, running their residency nights with the local DJs, and really just being their head of marketing. And you know, throughout that, I decided, I don't want to get stuck to just being a nightclub concept promoter or head of marketing there. I wanted to get into festivals and record labels. So that's where I kind of grown into now. But it has changed constantly, obviously from handing out flyers in the live event space to getting on radio and press in the music space. All of it's gone digital, which causes two things: a lot of noise because everybody has access to the attention. And, it also, in a plus side, it gives global access too. So no longer do you need to have a major label to get somewhere, as long as you know what you're doing. I think the key word that I had in there in that last sentence was attention. If you know where attention is, you can move with it. As a quick example, another article on Facebook's algorithm came out, and these things have been coming out because I have very close access to what's happening there just by way of my Facebook reps and whatnot. And it's been happening forever. Organic reach has been going down for a long time. So it's no surprise it's happening again. People panic every time an article comes out that says things are changing. Oh no, Snapchat's reach isn't as high. And the key is attention. Do you know where your audience is? Do you know where they're paying attention to? People may have built MySpace pages a while back, right? You know where to flyer. It always changes. And that's the thing you have to really be on top of to make your music game on point and successful. You really have to pay attention to where people are paying attention.
Right. You have to, any independent artist has to be flexible, so to speak,
Absolutely.
and be willing to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like you mentioned, that access is great for the independent artists that can reach everyone now if they're willing to play by their Facebook's type rules and Spotify rules. And if you're willing to play the game, you could reach them. But, it's a constantly changing game and you have to be adaptable. In the future, where do you see it going from here? As Facebook changes and Spotify changes, what's next?
I'm guessing that Spotify and Apple will start to bring a little bit more of a social aspect to their game. Right now, let's say on Spotify, the big player in streaming, I just noticed this again today thinking, man, what a cool system. You find a song you like. Maybe I heard it on the radio. Maybe it was an ad that introduced me to this artist and this song. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to add it to my Spotify. And so I'll listen to it. And then I'm driving. And of course, it's a passive thing. So what happens is, what's the next track? It could be the artist's next track in their album or EP, or it could be something that Spotify deems that I would also like. So the discovery is really different nowadays on how you're discovering new music. So to be able to get that initial point of contact and get some fan to like at least one of your tracks, it really expands the ability to find your other music. That's why I don't think we're in the album world at all anymore. I'm pretty sure it's done, to be honest with you. The old school scenario where you work up to release an album in a lot of genres, and depending on your fans, of course, I think it's over. I think it's a constant singles game now. Yeah. Now, you could put an album on a CD or even on vinyl for the collector's aspect, and that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think in the typical new, this is what it is now. It's not even new anymore. This is it. The way to release is really on singles. You push singles. And the cool thing is, when I'm working a single, let's say that's something new, because of that ability to discover and the algorithms on a Spotify, let's say, all the old tracks could get extra spins. Do you know what I mean? So the labels, it's got to change nowadays. It's hard to say we're going to sign an album or we're going to sign a single, because I know residually you're going to get a whole holistic approach of growth. So I really, myself personally, like to take the brand on. You know what I mean? As opposed to the one single. The single, sure, it's a great promotional tool. There's money there as well when you get downloads and sales and whatnot. But it's part of the whole brand nowadays. And that's everything.
Right.
You know, like the look and the gigs and the show and what the merch looks like. You know what I mean? Not just making money off all the stuff as in a 360. It's actually a full branding play, right?
Right. Those old days of just, the artists making money from CD sales are long gone now.
They are.
So
They are
you
completely
have to find different income streams, whether it be through Spotify, through merch, through touring. There's ways to do it, but like I said, I'll go back to an artist has to be flexible and adjust to the times and make the best of it.
Yeah, I mean, and you hear so often, the evil Spotify is not paying out enough. Sure, they're not paying out enough. Great. I mean, it is what it is. And there's a lot of people who are championing the change, which is fantastic, and slowly it'll change. But you know what? We could probably go back to the beginning days when sheet music was where you made your money, and the guy who printed the book didn't pay out enough. It's always been an issue. There's always a battle between the guy who wants the money, who thinks I invested, so I deserve more, and the guy or girl who created the piece of content who thinks I deserve more. There's a battle. There's always a battle. It's always going to happen. And the new Spotify, the hologram streaming something in 2050 is going to be the next problem. But you're right. If you're not adapting and if you sit and complain about it every day instead of figuring out the system and working the system that you have in front of you, it's just never going to happen. This is a very hard industry to make it in. Very hard. Also very easy at the same time because you have access, right?
Yeah, it can go both ways, and that's the beauty of it. And those who put in the work will succeed if they're willing to do the right thing. Let's switch gears a little bit. We talk about Spotify a lot. I know you've had some success on Spotify lately. What has been your technique to getting noticed on Spotify and getting playlisted?
Yeah, so, I think there's a couple of angles to everything I do in marketing, whether it's events, festivals, and of course, releasing singles. I like to layer things, right? There's no one big secret. So for the Spotify, so my last single, one of my artists is an R&B artist. We hit almost 100,000 streams in the last, I think it's been 3 weeks now. So it's pretty good as an indie artist, right? And no major label funds behind it. If I got major label funds behind it, I know it would have been even bigger, which is fantastic to know. So playlisting is huge, obviously. There's a lot of things out there like collaborative playlists that you can search out. And these are people who create their own playlists, but open it up for anybody to add their own song. Right? Which is kind of cool to have. Now, the listeners, are they high? Not really. You don't really see a huge spike because they're, people really trying to get their music on a playlist, more or less not listening to the playlist as much. But it's good to have. It adds to the metrics, right? Then there are the individual curators. Like even myself, I have an electronic playlist and an R&B playlist now. And both of them are in a few thousand followers. I think about 3,000 each, just over. So it's pretty good, starting to grow. Somebody could approach me and say, "Hey, I got a great R&B track. It would fit your playlist. Would you like to listen to it?" And of course you want to follow it and show some support. Do your whole deal on how do you get in. Don't just send tracks out because you get a lot of tracks and you want to be a little bit different. And so, as an individual curator, if I add your track to the playlist, there could be more listens there, right? And then, of course, you have the larger companies, whether they're big blogs or they're actual major labels. They have their own playlists. A little bit harder to get into. But you want to find those guys out. Maybe your distributor has better access to find the right curator and get there. And then you have the Spotify ones. Very hard to get into. Huge. Can break an artist instantly. You get on New Music Friday. You get on Mint if it's EDM. And you have to submit the forms. Again, build a relationship and get on. It's much like back in the day when you're trying to push on radio, right? You're trying to make a relationship with the radio programmers, the music directors. And I think the big thing is everybody wants to know that you have a plan, right? It's not just put my track on your playlist because you're going to help me. What's your actual plan? Are you going to start gigging? Are you putting some ads on Spotify as well as Instagram and Facebook? Are you supporting your own track, right? That's going to be a big reason why you get added as well. And of course, Spotify has massive algorithms, data that we do not have access to. They can see a track breaking, right? They can see, man, this song has been added to so many personal playlists. It's been saved X amount of times. They're listening to it over and over again. This has some legs. And then they start testing it on their big playlists. And from there, things can grow really nicely.
Right. That's it. We'll never really know exactly the algorithms, whether it be Spotify or Facebook or whatever. But we all know that the more you get added, the more fans you make, it'll help in the long run. And this goes back to, what I preach on a lot is that whole relationship building. You can't just throw a song at a playlist and say, hey, this is the greatest thing, put it on your playlist. Mm-hmm. My recommendation is you reach out to them, you tell them you enjoy their playlist, you follow their playlist before you even pitch them a song. Now they might remember your name a little bit when you go back to them with, hey, I have this song that might fit that playlist that I love so much. Just that one little, what's it take you 5 minutes to write an email? It opens the door, I think, a lot more than, even on the blog side. I have between 100 and 150 emails a day. I can't read them all and can't listen to all the music. It's impossible. So I go to the ones that have kind of opened up themselves to me. And it also goes, like you mentioned, a what's in it for me deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I put music on one of my playlists or my website, I want those artists to send people there, send their fans there. So we build together. And that's the beauty of relationship.
And you'll notice that, because if I actually spend the extra 30 seconds or minute after the song sounds good, and I'm like, oh, the song's great, I might check the social media accounts and say, these guys are sharing the playlist that they've been on. So I know I'm going to get a share as well. You know what I mean? So it's nice to support the playlists you're on, the other artists you work with, the blogs. If you get on a blog, you want to share that to your social media. You may want to spend some money. You may want to put $50, $100, who knows what, on a Facebook ad or a Twitter ad to boost out the blog article that you were just on, or the playlist, because it really goes two way and it helps. You really have to add to that. And it's a business. So artists that don't treat themselves like a business are going to find it very difficult to navigate in this day and age. And same with back in the day. Nobody's going to throw $1 million, record deal your way if they don't think you treat your own business as a business or seriously, right?
That's what, another preach. I guess I preach a lot. I never noticed it, but this is a business. It's a music business. Treat your own career like a business, and you put the money in and you'll get it out. I know there's been a lot of advertising now, and they talk about the Spotify advertising. I don't really understand that fully yet, but Facebook I've played with, and it pays big results. Have you experimented with Spotify playlisting yourself?
Up in Canada, I'm one of the small handful, I think, that even my account, when I log in, it says Spotify Ad Studio is not available in your country. But I have whitelisting for it. So I've been testing now North America wide ads, but my actual account, since I'm in Toronto, I had to be whitelisted for. So I'm not sure how many brands, probably large ones, have access to it. So there's two things. There's the ad studio, which is a 15 or 30 second audio ad you create. And also it has your thumbnail. So whether you have an album or you make a new thumbnail, whatever you want, and you run these ads, very targeted by genre, by age, by geographic, whatever you want. I've noticed really good results if my audio ad and my images is on point, like any marketing campaign. Great reach, great cost per thousand. So to reach 1,000 people or 10,000 people, it seems very good. Click-through ratio, not as high. Now, to be expected, they're passively listening. They might be driving, it might be on their speaker. So you'll hear the ad, much like on radio, but do they go over and click? Not as high as normal, right? But I think that's to be expected. I don't think Spotify is one of those services where you're actively watching your phone constantly, especially when an ad comes up. Now, the other piece of ad placement is when you spend like $5,000, $10,000, and the majority of that is with a larger label or maybe your distributor, and they have access to those pop-ups. When you first log into Spotify and there's a pop-up, it might be an event in your area or a brand new album. Majority of the times it's saved for some of the bigger players in the game because they don't want you bombarded with ads. Obviously, especially if you're a premium user, right? You'll have different access, and that's a large spend. I don't expect an indie artist to go that route. So if you're going to spend any dollars, my recommendation is in the Instagrams and Facebooks and Snapchats and whatnot, wherever your fans are. Maybe they're on Twitter more than else. I would do very targeted ads. You know, don't just say, listen to my track, right? Make sure you build a good campaign. You tease them out a little bit. You do some lives. You interact with the fans and build your fan base. One of my festivals, my organic reach is unbelievably through the reach. You know, it's like hundreds of thousands I will reach on some of my posts. And I only have 40,000 fans. But these are such rabid fans. It's amazing. And when I do boost it, it's crazy. I'll sell tickets like insane amounts of tickets with just Facebook and Instagram because I've built that rabid fan base. We engage with the community. We speak to them well. You know, we're part of them. Same thing you need to do as a musician. You know, the stronger your fan base is, the better it will be on spend, if you even need to spend, and you will start to get gigs and you'll start to get streams much quicker, and probably a lot of notice from management, labels as well. We probably look at fan base more than music, if I could say that. There's a lot of good music out there. So if it's good, it's good. But now what differentiates you from that? The music sucks and forget the fan base. Although I've seen a lot of signings with crappy music too.
Yeah, well, just turn on mainstream radio and you'll hear a lot of that. Right. But that's another speech that I don't want to give right now. But, as far as, you know, like you mentioned, find where your audience is and communicate with them there. I do recommend being on all the social media platforms, but you know, if you play around for a couple of weeks, you'll see where you're getting responses from, whether it be Instagram. You know, it also plays with age a lot. Like I prefer Facebook, but I'm a 43-year-old man, so that's where they are. But Instagram is playing with a 20-year-old. So find your audience, find the demographic you like, and focus on there. But as a new artist, you know, these guys are just getting started in this new age, putting out their first music. You know, what advice would you give to them as they're just getting started?
I would say know your brand, to know who you are. You know, if you're putting quotes and political posts on your Instagram pages or your Facebook pages, but it's not really your brand whatsoever, and you're just finding stuff to post, that makes no sense. And know what your band or yourself as an artist is, first of all. And it'll be a lot easier to figure out what to post. I know a lot of people get stuck with, I don't know what to post today. Do people really care I'm having grilled cheese right now? Right? And now some of your fans might really care that you're having grilled cheese because that's your character and that's the fan base, right? So you really have to know who you are. And of course, secondary to that is who is your audience? So where are they? Like I mentioned earlier, what's the attention? Maybe they're on MySpace still for all we know, right? You know where they are, and you could talk to them through that. And then you don't have to worry as much about these algorithm craziness changes because you will eventually have people who want to hear from you, who do engage with your page. So they do get your notifications constantly. If the content's just blah, and you're just posting because you don't know what to say, Facebook knows that. Instagram knows that. They all know that just by algorithm, right? Same with Spotify. People aren't saving your track, not listening to it. They skip over it. Spotify's back end knows your track's not strong enough to the fans. It doesn't matter what you think. It's just what it is, right? The market's telling you what it is, right? And so it won't get the love. It won't get the just thrown into this playlist or, you know, your own personal daily mix that they've curated for you, because these are the things you usually like. Same idea with Facebook and Instagram. You know, if they like what you have to say, they are going to see it a lot more, right? So definitely know who you are and now know your audience. Those connections are really strong. It makes your life a lot easier.
I think it ties into just be a real person, and that's you'll develop real fans. And as I try to preach them as like fan friends. Those first few fans you're going to have to be friendly with them. You're going to have to open yourself up to them and let them into your everyday life, whether it be eating the grilled cheese sandwich or whatever it is. You know, these are going to be your friends, and they're going to be your biggest pioneers of spreading out your music. If, you know, they think that they're a part of your life as well. So it's, you know, the back thing, it's a give and take. You know, you give to them and they will give it back in spades, you know?
Yeah, and it's a social game. So you want them to have that opportunity to be, hey, I'm the first to tell my friends the new track's coming out. Did you know? I mean, everybody wants to do that. You know, it's not even a new thing. It's been that way since the beginning of time. You want to be the guy or girl to know and to tell your people the news, the gossip. You know what I mean? So when you build that relationship, it gives them a good reason to want to help share, you know, without even asking, hey, can I get 50 people to share this? Sure, you can do that, and you'll get people to help. But you'll find that as you build your fan base, even if you ask people to share, you're going to find way more people sharing because they want to, right? And that's important. They want to come out to the gigs, right? You don't have to force them out. The value's there. You don't have to worry about, oh man, my ticket's $10, but what else should I do? Like it's okay. They'll come out and spend $100 when you get to that point, right?
So it is. Just keep building, and if you build the right way, they will come, as they say. Let's take a break. We got to end it soon, but what's next for you? I know you got a lot of stuff going on with the label, and give us some links too. I'm going to type it in, but let's have them in the video as well.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So I run a few festivals. We have a new amphitheater up here in Toronto, Canada area, just outside, that we're going to be building a lot of events through. I still speak a lot. So Florida and Las Vegas, speaking to the music industry and the live event industry, which is a lot of fun. And my new record label I just started really at the beginning of this year. I've been thinking about record label launches for a long time. I've been working within some of them, and I'm like, I don't know, do I start one? I know I can, and I know the marketing is always a big piece of the pie, as I'm told, and that's what I have. So I finally found a great artist who's won a couple of gold records and some Juno Awards in Canada, and we clicked, and I thought, you know what, let's start this label now. So another piece of my business opened up, 105 Records. So and that's been fun. So it's been playlisting and using my connections for PR and promoting really well. That's what I do best. So we quickly got him a lot of streams, and I'm going to be looking for new artists soon. And it's been a lot of fun and a lot of work, but that's kind of what the new horizon is. So I got festivals and the label now going on, and it's been a fun ride. My website's probably the best spot to connect with me, louielavella.com. And start from there. Just click around and figure out what I'm up to.
Well, so you mentioned work, and I mean, you're the same as me. It's not really work when you really love what you do. So, we keep playing this game and enjoying it, and we're going to keep living the dream, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let me just, say thank you so much, Louie. I really appreciate the time, and I know the viewers of this and the fans will appreciate the knowledge that's out there, and we're going to just keep building it together. And, if people are willing to follow the way, I think we could help the independent scene just continue to grow. So, again, thank you so much. And I will definitely speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.